From the departure of the actors who held the show together, to Gibbs' farewell being the final nail in the coffin for fans, these are the real reasons NCIS needs to end, starting with why the show should have ended with the spin-off back in 2021. Who can argue that the longer a show gets dragged on, the more chances there are for problems to arise? With the NCIS New Orleans spin-off already saying goodbye, some would argue that NCIS should have also ended, instead of going into their 21st season. But will the series ever end? There have been plenty of actors who have left the show. This begs the question, could Gibbs' exit be the proverbial straw that breaks the camel's back going into season 22? The showrunner for NCIS LA agrees that everything comes to an end eventually. Sure, it's a bitter pill to swallow, but one final episode will give fans the satisfaction they want, knowing that their beloved characters can take the high road before the show gets too repetitive. Maybe it is time to say goodbye, especially with Mark Harmon out. A few years ago, everyone would have said that the show without him was unimaginable. He's been the face of Leroy Jethro Gibbs since the backdoor pilot on JAG. But Harmon exited the show in season 19, leaving his character behind in Alaska after wrapping up a case. The show managed to keep chugging along without him and still find success. The ratings might not have been what they used to be, partly due to a change in its time slot, but it's still a hit. Instead of the show ending with Mark, we have Gary Cole's Alden Parker as the new leader. Let's not forget the departure of Emily Wickersham's character, followed by the introduction of Katrina Law's Jessica Knight, after a tragic incident involving her React team in season 18. Needless to say, NCIS fared quite well in its post-Gibbs era. Sure, the show isn't the same as before, but season 20's episodes have proven that people still tune in each week. Nobody can deny that there are still intriguing cases to solve, new characters to get to know, and uncharted storylines to explore. One thing's for sure, the people behind the scenes at NCIS have an unwavering belief in the show's longevity. Executive producer Stephen D. Binder made it clear that he couldn't see the show ever ending. In his words, "There has always been NCIS, there will always be NCIS." He believes that as long as people keep watching and they keep telling compelling stories, the show will go on. Losing other cast members was tough, but Gibbs leaving wasn't the breaking point. But let's be realistic, no TV show can go on forever. So when will it be time for NCIS to finally throw in the towel? Some argue that when Sean Murray's character Timothy McGee leaves, that could be it. After all, he's the only team member left who had a significant role in season 1. We've seen him grow from the probie to a senior field agent, and his departure would certainly mark the end of an era. How many more actors can leave before the ratings drop? From fan favorites to integral team members, all the exits have left fans both sad and curious about the reasons behind them, particularly Abby Sciuto and Tony DiNozzo. For one thing, Abby was the only quirky, fan-favorite forensic specialist on the team. Her departure from NCIS was far from a walk in the park. It all came down to a clash between Perrette and Mark Harmon. The tension between them reached a breaking point when the actor's dog attacked a crew member on set. This incident created a deep divide, which led to the actress leaving the show. In a controversial tweet, she also revealed her fear of Harmon and her nightmares of him attacking her. All that shattered any hopes of a return and marked the end of an era for Abby Sciuto. As for Tony DiNozzo, he brought his charm, humor, and undeniable chemistry with the NCIS team. But why did he decide to leave? It turns out that Michael Weatherly was ready for a change after his 13-season run on the show. He admitted feeling burned out and wanted a new challenge in his career. Another factor that played a role in his departure was the absence of his on-screen love interest, Ziva David, who had already left the series. He missed the electric dynamic they shared, and this influenced his decision to explore new opportunities beyond the realm of NCIS. While bidding farewell to loved characters is always tough, NCIS has managed to soldier on with its ever-evolving storylines and new faces offering new perspectives, bringing new energy into the series. But over the years, Mark Harmon, Michael Weatherly, and Cote de Pablo have been pretty scandalous. I suppose when a show has been around for as long as NCIS has, it's bound to encounter a few bumps in the road. Like Ziva David's candid remarks about the series that got people talking, DePablo didn't hold back either. She was extremely frustrated with what she called political things, and subpar scripts as the main reasons behind her exit. Of course, fans loved her return in 2020, which gave everyone hope for the show again. But the thing is, there were lots more controversies that followed. Michael Weatherly was involved in a controversy in 2016. Trouble followed him there when his co-star on the show, Bull, Eliza Dushku, accused him of harassment and bullying. Of course, this led to his firing from the show. Needless to say, this sent shockwaves throughout the industry, especially when it was revealed that the network had paid Dushku nearly $10 million to settle the matter. Interestingly, some of his former NCIS co-stars also jumped to his defense during this. Polly Perrette, in particular, voiced her support, emphasizing the deep love, respect, and trust she had for him after 2 decades of friendship. Sasha Alexander chimed in with a heartfelt message, reminiscing about the jokes they shared while on set together. Naturally, all that controversy seeped into the show as well, causing their ratings to drop. These scandals gave fans a lot to talk about, stirring up mixed emotions and leaving everyone wondering if the show would continue or not. But they didn't stop, not even after some fans vowed to stop watching after Mark Harmon's exit. That should have been the final nail in the coffin. Ever since the premiere of season 19, fans had been anxiously awaiting the unfortunate news of Gibbs's departure. And when it finally happened, they found themselves at a loss for what to do next. He took the time to say emotional goodbyes to everyone, but when he said he wasn't ready to let it go, fans lost it. Moved by Gibbs's words, even McGee stopped trying to convince him otherwise and accepted the emotional goodbye. Viewers watching the scene unfold at home were equally moved, with tears flowing and a whirlwind of thoughts racing through their minds. Many took to social media to vent their emotions. One fan wrote that they don't usually cry over TV characters, but watching him say goodbye to Gibbs/Mark Harmon after 19 seasons broke them. Of course, nobody can deny how emotional his ending was after 18 years and seasons. Naturally, there were a lot of fans who made a collective decision to stop watching the show. One fan tweeted, saying that if the character goes, he'll also go. After all, there's no NCIS without Gibbs. Maybe ending the series with him would have been the smart decision. They've already lost the majority of their fan base. But the sole reason it keeps going is because there are some viewers who appreciated Gibbs' farewell and loved the ending. It was the perfect conclusion, but amidst the discord among fans, there was a glimmer of hope. Steve Binder stepped forward to provide reassurance that this may not be the definitive end for Gibbs. And in an encouraging statement, he emphasized that Mark would remain an integral part of the show's fabric. So when it came to his future, he assured everybody not to count the character out. In the end, fans find themselves thinking about the path ahead for NCIS and all the cast members they've lost. One can hope, but for the most part, it seems like the show is suffering a slow death. Only time will reveal what lies ahead. So from Gibbs' farewell in season 19, being the final nail in the coffin for fans, to the departure of the most loved actors who held the show together, these were the reasons NCIS needs to end.